Hi, it's Scott, ROCKFILE, back with another podcast review for you. Going to talk about the brand new 4K edition of Dune Part 2. Like pretty much everything I review on this channel, I bought this copy from Gruv.com, which is a discount website that is run by Universal, it appears, but they also have Warner Brothers movies. I had pre-ordered it back when I walked out of the movie theater. It shipped early, and I got it on Thursday before the Tuesday, May 14th release. Spent some time going through the extras, the disc itself, comparing it to the Blu-ray, and here's my review. Don't really have too much more to say than what the reviews have said. The movie was a massive success. 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. It had a $190 million budget. At this point, it's grossed $708 million. The combined gross for the two movies are over $1 billion. They're quite happy with how it did, and they've greenlighted the third and final part of what Denis Villeneuve wants to make into a trilogy. The official explanation: Paul Atreides unites with Chani and the Fremen while seeking revenge against the conspirators who destroyed his family. Facing a choice between the love of his life and the fate of the universe, he must prevent a terrible future only he can foresee. I really have no complaints about the movie. I saw it in the theater and gave it an extraordinary review, and I liked it even better at home. This is only my second time seeing the film. To go ahead and get to the 4K part, it's a reference quality 4K. The picture is 5 out of 5. The sound is 5 out of 5. It's incredible Dolby Atmos. Hans Zimmer's score just takes you to another universe. Really looked great and sounded great. Matter of fact, if you've been looking for a movie to work out your subwoofer, this is the one. I had to turn my subwoofer way down as to not bother the neighbors. It was really loud LFE channel. I think combined with the first movie, this is the best adaptation of Dune, with a small side note. In an effort to keep the movie closer to a real adaptation of the book and keep it grounded in the reality that it created, it doesn't get as mystical or grand as the David Lynch version did. And I don't know how much of that was David Lynch and the producer Dino De Laurentiis back on that old 80s movie, but I do like how the 1984 film made him a little more mystical, a little more. But that would really be my only complaint about Dune Part 2. That, and I think keeping Chani to mostly the second movie, we didn't have a long enough time with their love before we turned into the, am I going to love this guy because he's starting to look like it may not be such a good thing he's doing? There are a lot more nuances in this film version than the original David Lynch film, which was much shorter by comparison, almost by less than half. And I've always considered it kind of a Cliff Notes version of the story. Dune Part 2, combined with the Dune Part 1 that came out in 2021, has it been that long? Is a much better adaptation. I think everybody in the movie is fabulous. Timothy was the right guy to play Paul. Really impressed with Rebecca Ferguson in this. Javier Bardem is a treasure. He's amazing in this film, even more so than the first movie. Totally becomes Stilgar. And I really like the original Stilgar. I think everybody in the movie does great. Austin Butler disappears as Fade Ralpha. This has better action, bigger action, faster pace. If you're looking for a movie review comparing it to the first one, it is a better movie than the first one. But to me, they're two halves of the same film, even though they went back and had to, they didn't film all this at one shot. They went back and started over and expanded and did even more with the universe. And I'm glad they did. It pairs perfectly with the first movie. I'm someone who rewatched the first movie and then saw the second one in the theater. I did not rewatch the first movie again because it's only been, this only came out in March, so it's only been 2 months since I rewatched the first movie. But rewatching this a second time at home, not that I picked up on more stuff, I picked up on more audio stuff. I do enjoy the theatrical presentations at both of the theaters I have in Kenai and Soldotna, Alaska, but they're not Dolby Atmos, and they're not, honestly, my modest home system is pretty spectacular. It was, at least for this movie. Maybe it was just the 4K. It was an incredible 4K. If you're going to buy the Steel book, I would try Grove.com. They still had some. Amazon seems to be sold out of it. Most of the other retailers that are still selling movies. There was an announcement this week that 2 stores are going to start selling movies. GameStop is going to start selling movies, and Fred Meyer, the grocery store. We have a Fred Meyer here in Soldotna that does sell movies, but they tend to sell them for more than I would pay. Hopefully that changes. And our Walmart does pretty good. Our Walmart is sold out. At least the Walmart website is sold out of the Dune. I don't know how much ours will have in store on Tuesday. So should you pick it up? If you own the first one, then you have to own this, because you're also going to get the third one when it eventually comes out. It is the best 4K disc I've put in my system this year, tied with Oppenheimer. I mean, it's just perfect video, perfect audio. As far as the movie goes, if you like the first one, you're going to love this one. It's better and it continues the story. If you didn't like the first one, I don't know how much this is going to change your mind, but it is a faster paced, better, more exciting film with more characters, more things going on. But without the first one, the first one's not totally set up. It was a movie into itself, but I think it's fantastic. I'm trying to do this quickly so I can get it posted before the Tuesday release, so you'll know that it's worth picking up. It is. There was talk in the beginning that some of the extras were not going to be on the disc. There's over an hour of extras on the 4K disc and the Blu-ray. Oh, here's a note. If you buy the Blu-ray, you get the Blu-ray and the digital copy. If you buy the 4K, you get the 4K and the digital copy. The only way to get both the Blu-ray and the 4K is the Steelbook, and you get the digital copy. With the digital copy, you do get some extras that are not on the disc, but there's only one of any import. There is about a 26-minute documentary that's not included on the disc. I figure it probably wasn't done yet. There's also a handful of those little movie books, the things that they, when they're trying to learn something, that like moving picture encyclopedia that Paul uses. Some of those videos are on there to explain some of the things that are in the new movie that weren't in the first movie. And those extras were on the disc on the old Blu-ray 4K. I believe. I might have to go back and check. But anyway, there were people on the internet making a big deal that some of the extras were not going to be on the disc, and they were all minor except for that one that I had no problems watching on streaming. I have done more than one comparison in my reviews between streaming and an actual 4K disc, and there's no comparison for this. The sound is much fuller, deeper, resonant. The soundstage is bigger. Anything you stream is going to be compressed. Your little Dolby Digital or Dolby Atmos light might be coming on, but it's much more compressed than you get on a 4K disc that is shooting out video from 50 to 100 megabits per second, and then the audio at 2 to 5 megabits per second as well. It looks and sounds fantastic. I really enjoyed the film even more the second time. Looking forward to watching the two movies back to back at home at some point again in the near future to kind of get that whole experience. I think everybody in the movie was fantastic. Zendaya sometimes comes off as her. I think she was good in the film. I think she had a hard role to, she has to be somebody who's strong but also enamored. And a buddy of mine pointed out that if Paul really was the one to her, then why is she joined with her friends making fun of him and stuff? And although some of that played out like it does in the Spider-Man movies. She's smart and she's playing along with the crowd, but she really is for the guy. And I don't know, I got a little weird vibe in there, but that literally is the only things I can find to complain about the movie. That, and it could have been a little more mystical when Paul takes the water of life and the end battle. The battle is great, though. The hand-to-hand combat between him and Austin Butler, fantastic. The little battle I was disappointed in, but it made sense the way it went down like that, was Raban and Gurney Halleck. You knew they were going to get back together at some point, and it was going to be bad, and it's pretty much one and done and over. Then again, how else would it be for guys who are really good at what they do? Dune Part 2 is a success all the way around, and we're getting a third one. Sure, it's not everybody's favorite movie. Dune is a little cerebral. It's got a lot of layers. It's about other things. There's a lot going on here. But to just watch as a sci-fi movie that looks amazing on home video, pick up the 4K edition if your system can handle it and crank it up to 11. It really looks and sounds fantastic. And I really enjoyed the movie. So, it comes out Tuesday, May the 14th. Grab a steelbook while you can. You pick up one of the other copies, great, but do get the 4K. This is one of those movies that really shines. Comparing it to what's on the Blu-ray and what's on streaming, it really shines in 4K. From every grain of sand in these practical sets where they were actually outside filming in the desert, it pops. The colors, there's an interesting blend of colors in the film, but they use certain things to accentuate certain things, and the HDR totally helps with that. Sound and video, perfect. Movie is fantastic. One of the best science fiction movies of the 21st century. One of the best science fiction movies of all time. Dune Part 2, it's available on Tuesday, May 14th. Enjoy. I'm Scott. I'm ROCKFILE. Thanks for listening to this podcast. We'll be talking about that new Crow 4K edition of the next one. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.